Today I want to talk about a topic that is quite fitting to the current season and weather, depending where you live of course, and it's about taking pictures in cold weather in snowy and icy conditions. And I've been asked by some of you how I do it with the equipment, that the equipment doesn't get damaged, that it still works as expected, for not having any surprises. And I also want to talk about the clothing that I think can be very important for these situations. And additionally, I want to give you some compositional tips for taking images in snowy landscapes. My tip number one is regarding battery. As you might already know, battery life suffers quite heavily if you shoot in rather low temperatures, especially if you're below freezing point. I felt that the battery life really takes a severe hit, and this is even more true if you have these rather small batteries. So this I would call an intermediate battery. That's the LPE6P from Canon, the one that goes into the R7, R6, R5 series. A bit comparable to the one from Nikon Z8 or from the Sony A1 and A9 series. I had the feeling that the even smaller batteries suffer a bit more from the temperature, and I also had the experience that often like third-party batteries were struggling more when I was shooting at -10, -20 degrees Celsius. So one thing that obviously helps here is just to take a bit more batteries than you would take on a normal spring or summer day if you are shooting in winter, because you will just need them. The second tip is the battery that you're not using, try to keep them as warm as possible. And this means keep them as close as possible to the body. So usually I try to use several layers of clothes in winter so that I'm a bit flexible in how much I want to wear, depending on if I'm a bit more walking uphill or if I'm just waiting at one spot. And I usually try to put the batteries in the kind of lowest layer that still has pockets, because then they are very well isolated from the cold outside temperature and they kind of benefit from my body heat. And this just means that if the battery in my camera runs out, I have one that is warm and fresh. And I've also had it actually that one of the batteries died in the camera. I took it on me on the body, kept it there for like 20 minutes or so, and afterwards I got a little bit more life left out of this battery. So keeping them warm is essential. If I stay somewhere overnight in winter with my tent, I usually also try to take the batteries together with my cell phone, for example, inside the sleeping bag for exactly the same reason. Even though Canon and other manufacturers specify the operating temperature like often between like 0 and 40 or 0 and 45 degrees Celsius, from my experience the cameras don't have problems working at lower temperatures. As I mentioned, battery life can be a problem. The second thing what cameras don't like is big changes in temperature. So first of all, the image quality can suffer if you have like a really warm camera and lens with warm air in and you go outside, because the outside of the lens will cool down and the inside is still warm. So once I have arrived at a spot and I don't need to do any exhaustive hiking anymore, I usually take out my camera and my lens from the backpack, and then I'm ready to shoot. And the camera can basically start cool down and get to the ambient temperature before I start taking the pictures, before I actually see the animal. Almost more important is maybe if you go back into a warm house, because if you have done this before with your camera, you can have probably realized that it will fog up, and that's not ideal. So what I recommend doing here is just leave the camera and the lens in the backpack, take the backpack inside the house, just let it rest for like an hour or so. Then I usually open the zipper of the backpack a tiny bit and let it rest for another 1 or 2 hours before completely opening it and taking out the camera. Just ensures that it can slowly get kind of used to the camera and the lenses will not fog. And this can really help to avoid problems in the long term. It's a bit a different situation, however, if your camera gets wet. So if it was raining or if it was snowing and because your hands are warm, maybe the camera is warm from the filming or whatever, because this is why cameras overheat, they tend to get a bit warm, the snow can melt and you have a wet camera. In this situation, I would act a bit differently. As soon as I'm home, I would take it out, because keeping the camera, a wet camera, in a backpack, which is a quite confined space, just means that it stays in this moist environment, and this is really not good. So just take it out as soon as you're home, use a microfiber cloth or something just to dry it a little bit, and then let it dry completely. Make sure that you remove the lens cap, that the front element can dry. Maybe open the monitor, that there is no water in here below, and make sure that the camera dries completely. If it's windy or it's snowing, then I would also highly recommend to avoid changing lenses or putting tele-extenders in or out. Last year I actually did that, and I dropped my tele-extender in the snow, and it fell like this deep into the snow, and yeah, I didn't use it anymore for the rest of the day because I didn't want to risk getting water inside the camera or the lens. So be a bit careful if you change lenses in these circumstances. I usually try to have two cameras with two different lenses on it. Usually these semi-professional to professional camera bodies, they can stand quite some snow. But if it's really snowing a lot, maybe it's even a mixture between snow and rain, and you're staying there for hours, then I would maybe consider taking some kind of rain cover. I have one here that I linked below. This comes in different sizes. If you want to save some money, you can also make one on your own out of plastic bags, I guess, with some Velcro or whatever works for you. It's just a nice protection if you are in these rough conditions over a prolonged period. A few years ago, when I was in northern Sweden and we had temperatures below -20 degrees Celsius, I actually had a small injury at my nose because part of my nose was kind of freezing, and I didn't know in the beginning how this happened until somebody told me, yeah, typical photographer in the winter. And he told me that this can actually come because if you have the camera screen and you are with the eye on the viewfinder and press your nose on the camera screen, and the camera screen is very cold, the nose is warm, just below you have the breath that is kind of humidifying everything, and then it's freezing again. This can actually cause problems for your nose. So with my R5 or with the mirrorless cameras, I usually put the screen inside out so that I have just the plastic and not the glass. I don't know if this is still an issue with modern cameras or if the surface, the material here changed a bit, but I'm a bit more careful and I'm not pressing my nose as much on the screen anymore as I did before. And in general, if you're shooting in snowy or rainy conditions, it's a good idea to put the touch screen basically inside, because snow or rain on the touch screen can cause malfunctions, and like this you can avoid this as well. Now that we discussed some things about the photography gear, it's time to think a bit about us as photographers, and I think it's crucial that we stay as comfortable as possible. Of course, it will be cold sometimes, that cannot be avoided, but I had it in the past that my fingers got so cold that I was not able to turn the dials anymore. And first of all, not a comfortable situation, and second of all, not good for the photography if you cannot change the settings that you want anymore. So my weakest point is always, these are my hands. So I have here different gloves from the Heat company. I've been using them since several years. I have here these merino liners that I use a lot in autumn because they are very thin and light, and I feel like I'm almost not wearing gloves. I'm still having very flexible movement. In winter, I usually use more the Wind Pro liner because they are more or less waterproof. They're a bit thicker, but they still have this basically the top of the finger, you can still use the touch screen. This is my second generation. The first one kind of stopped working after a few years, and I've had this for another few years. I'm quite happy with them now. And then if it gets really cold, I usually use these shells that I can just put on top, and I can take my fingers out if I want to still operate the camera. And when I don't need to operate the camera, I can put the fingers in that they are a bit warmer, and there is also space for putting heat packs. And like this, it's okay. I'm still not very comfortable all the time. What actually helps in these situations is just start moving, because then your metabolism, I guess, will speed up a bit. As soon as you start walking, especially in the deep snow, you get warm again automatically. In terms of other clothes, I usually just try to put different layers, because if I hike somewhere up, I can get very warm, and then I prefer to not sweat too much. As soon as I'm up there, I just put some layers that I don't cool down too much. And I usually have very dry skin, so I try to use as much as hand cream as possible in winter, because the change between the cold outside temperatures, getting wet hands from the snow, coming inside in a rather dry room because of all the heating, it just dries my skin to the point where it starts bleeding, which is also not comfortable. And I put my favorite hand lotion below. I'm not working together with the company, it's just the one that works the best for me if I have really dry hands in winter. So I gave you some tips about the camera equipment, about clothes that I'm wearing. Now about compositional tips for the photography. If I take pictures in snow, I like to show that they were taken in snow. So usually I put the subject a bit smaller in frame, that we have a bit of the winter landscape in there. And then it's important, if you shoot in the aperture priority mode or manual mode with automatic ISO, that you put a positive exposure compensation, just because there is so much snow, so much white, that you will need this, otherwise the camera will underexpose the image. How much exposure compensation you need always depends on your subject, how big you put it in the frame and so on, but usually +2 stops is quite a good starting point, I think. Just take a test shot, look at the screen, and look at the histogram, look at these blinkies, this overexposure warning, and you will see if you're at a good point or not. People also ask me over Instagram what I do with the white balance. Since I shoot in RAW, I don't care so much if the white balance is spot on or if it's a bit too yellowish or too bluish. I usually just keep it on either daylight or cloud, and this usually gives me a good starting point, and then I do the final adjustments in Lightroom or Capture One. Finally, if you're shooting in a snowy landscape, this whole snow works as a kind of a huge reflector that is bouncing off light, and that's often a good thing, because if we have sunlight during noon, we often have the problem with like rather harsh shadows on the subject, and the snow cover can actually help to reduce these shadows a bit, because it's reflecting the sunlight back to the subject. So I observed that in winter I usually shoot a bit longer than I would in summer, just because the nice light stays a bit longer, and this helps definitely. Another advantage is that it gives a lot of light in general, so even if you have not the fastest lens, if you're maybe shooting something like a Canon RF 200 to 800mm f6.3 to f9, you can still get plenty of light on the sensor. So I hope you can try out some of the tips, get some nice images in the snow, and let me know what your experiences and maybe some tips that you have about photography in the cold and snow are, and share them in the comments below.